Table Talk, an open and honest discussion about different topics related to faith.
Hello and welcome to Table Talk. Today we have some former students talking about their first year of college. That was good.
Yeah, that was
Okay. Hi, I'm Taylor. I go to Abilene Christian University in Abilene, Texas.
Hi, I'm Ashley, and I go to East Texas Baptist University in Marshall, Texas.
Hi, I'm Gracie. I go to Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Hi, I'm Natalie. I go to Dallas Baptist University in Dallas, Texas.
Hi, I'm Abby, and I go to Texas Christian University in Fort Worth, Texas.
So, meeting people, if it's a duffel bag university, if it's a ghost town, if you didn't realize you were making friends. Let's talk about how that happened. Friendships. What's different?
Mine's kind of crazy. Like, my roommate, okay, so y'all know Anna, right? Mm-hmm. So Anna knew this guy in my section who was third cousins with my roommate. And so they all kind of weirdly connected, and that's how my friend group formed. So they all know each other somehow, and I don't know. I just kind of lucked into it. It was like a lottery thing, too. Like, she was my roommate, and then she was like, oh, he's my cousin. And I was like, okay. So there you go.
Cousins in this.
It was different because I remember as soon as I moved in, not as soon as, but within the first month, I was in this huge friend group, and there was so much drama between everyone and everything, and I removed myself from that situation. I was like, this is terrible. This is toxic. I don't want to cry every day. I don't want to be involved in this drama. It's once I removed myself from that and allowed myself to make other friends. Me and my roommate became best friends. She's my best friend now. And it was easy making friends, but it was hard finding people that truly care about your well-being and want to be there for you.
I looked out because I'm rooming with my best friend that I've been best friends with since 6th grade, which is so it's so good because you're okay, well, I want to go to this, and I'll go with you, but then we kind of have an agreement where we're if we want to go hang out with someone else, then we're not just going to stay by each other, because then we're not going to make any friends because we're just going to talk to each other. But I think like you said, it's really hard finding people who are legit friends for you, I guess, because first semester I was friends with these two girls, but then by second semester, I would pass by them and I'd be like, hey, and they would just be like, and I'd be like, oh, so that didn't work out? Okay,
we're not
cool.
on hello basis.
But yeah, I agree. It's hard finding the people, but when you do find them, you just can be let's go eat, and they're let's do it, because you're all just in the same boat. It's good.
Yeah. I think for mine it was SWAT week, which is freshman week. It honestly, I just remember walking into the basketball place, and everyone was screaming, and I'm just walking in, and I'm the basketball lane? Yeah. Basketball lane. And I met one of my best friends, Coco, while walking down the stairs. She's like, hey, you're on the white team. Let's stay together. So that, and I'm also in a sorority, and so I've made a lot of my best friends through Zeta. So it's just kind of different, and being in different organizations has helped me make my friends.
Yeah. By default, you're next.
Yeah, well, I also roomed with my best friend. We've been besties forever. It was great. We were super excited because everyone is oh no, you're gonna end up hating each other by the end of the year. And I was oh, you're wrong, and they were wrong. So that was cool. And it was you have to get involved to meet people, is what I realized. You can't just expect to meet people. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things is I thought I was involved in band, and then we quit that after the first football game. I said no, adios, I'm done. I don't want to do this. So we didn't do it. And then so I got a job in my residence hall, and I literally met my best friends. We're together all the time, and it's so exciting, and I miss them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, you definitely have to get involved. So that was really the only way that I met them. But yeah.
I feel with what y'all were saying about the whole you have to find your true friends, a lot of the first week stuff, Wildcat Week or whatever it's called at the different schools, it's everyone's in this mood of oh, I'm gonna make so many friends, and everyone wants to say hi to everyone, but that's not when you make the real connections.
Yeah, I have so many people on Snapchat that I was oh, let's exchange Snapchats, and I don't
never
talk to you again. Or I'll see them, I see them walking on campus, and I'm oh, and they're yeah, no, I don't know who you are.
Yeah,
I have you on Snapchat, but I have no clue your last name.
Well, that's not great for you.
See, I can't. Me and my best friend were roommates this last year just by chance, because like she was the one person we didn't know going in, and we're not rooming together next year because we're like, we can't, like, for the sake of our friendship, we shouldn't and we can't, but we're gonna be neighbors, so I'm really excited.
That's probably better.
Yeah, I'm so
On
excited.
your side of the hall.
Yes.
Get out.
Yeah.
So, with your new friends, we're gonna stay on friendship for a minute, because like friendships that you had in high school, have you maintained those this last year, or have they kind of like not so much? Are there expectations that like, oh, we're gonna be friends forever, but now there's like new things in life? Talk about like maintaining old friendships versus like making new ones.
Well, like, okay, so my friend group in high school, like, we have like a group chat or whatever. Yeah, like that's the normal thing. And like we still talk in it, and it's cool because we've all gone different ways and like made different friends. But the fact that we can all still come back together and like talk about that, like, you don't have to lose that friendship. You don't have to stay best friends. Like, you don't talk to each other. Like, people I talked to every day in high school, I don't talk to every day anymore. But I still like catch up with them, and I still like check on them because I think it's super important. Like, those are relationships that like kind of build my ideas of friendship and like what I like need in a friend and what I like can be as a friend. So I think like maintaining those maybe at a different level is super important, and I think that honestly helped me make friends in college. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm still friends with them. I might not see them every day or talk to them every day, but being able to like go back and like still
Like touch base.
yeah.
I feel like I haven't stayed like near as close to my friends that I had in high school. I mean, like, Anna goes to my college and we still don't even see each other every day, so it's kind of just like, we have different friend groups now, I guess, and so like we don't talk as much, but I still feel like I can talk to my friends from high school anytime I need to. Like, we've talked about that, and so
I feel like it's definitely important to like, you have to put more effort into those friendships because like, I know me and Gracie, we are, and Taylor, we are hours away from home. We're not like, I mean,
Duffel Bag University.
yeah. we're so far away. Like, I mean, I know
closer.
I don't get to come home often, like if at all. So like, it's like really, to me, it's really important to like make sure to like make time for those friendships. Even like there's like weeks that like I didn't talk to girls I went to high school with, but I had a friend that went to Concordia University, and they're in our conference, and she just happened to be playing at EGBU, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's so awesome. And so we got to see each other, so it was like really nice, but it is definitely important. I'm not as close to people I went to high school with.
Yeah, I think me either. Like, definitely not as close, but like, we have like a bigger trip with all our friends. We'll be like, hey, like, let's go do this right now, and everyone's like, I'm in. And then we go, and it's just so cool to talk. It's like talking like with all you guys right now. It's like we all are doing so many different things, so we just like get to compare, and like, it's like we talked yesterday, like, you know what I mean? Like, we've been talking, but yeah, I think it's definitely not the same. And we were talking about it, like, me and my friends the other day, and we were like, we probably don't talk to like 90% of the people we went to high school with. Like, just the people in high school you don't consider like your super good friends, but like still you'd be like smile at them in the hallway. Like, I haven't seen them since May 29th, you know?
And everyone in high school, everyone was like, oh yeah, like, at least I thought, I was like, yeah, I'll still talk to all these people, but like in reality, when people say you will not talk to these people,
Probably
like
you see them in Walmart and you're like,
It's always really awkward too, because you're like, oh,
time.
like, we said we were going to talk, and like we have not, so it's just like that awkward, like, oh, hey, like, I know what you're doing because I follow you on social media, but like, we don't talk.
and it's just like so weird.
Yeah, I know, I feel creepy. Sorry that I know about
It's like so weird because like I can talk to you all the time. I can talk to any of y'all like all the time, but like we're not like on that like level that we were when we were all here.
Yeah.
So like when you do see each other, you're like catching up and giving more details about what you've been doing.
I'm not as close to my friends that went to BHS with me. I'm more close to like my FCCLA friends. And I still have like some of those friends in high school that I still talk to on a regular basis. Like, sometimes it's harder to talk to like Kelsey, for example. I can go like weeks without talking to her, but like I think it's just different because she's also in the Marines, so she can't like text me all the time.
What's up?
But I'm not as close to my high school friends as I am to my college friends now. It's like when I see my high school friends, I'm like, oh, hey, like, what's up? But it's not like, I don't know, it's just kind of different.
That's okay. Excellent. So, transitioning. What has been an unmet expectation from this first year? Like, you last year being like, whoa, college, this is what it's going to be. What has it not been?
That it was going to go so like it was just going to happen. Like it wasn't going to be like hard or anything. Like I just thought, I was like, oh, I'll go to college, and like because when you go into college, you're like, oh, well, like you have so many resources and like so many people are going to help you. But like and it's there if you like really look for it, and you're like, oh, like I need to go like ask someone this question, but sometimes you don't even know what questions to ask.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and like I don't even know what I need to ask to like do this. So like learning that like like you have to sometimes just go for things you don't know what you're doing. Like it's okay to not know. Yeah, no, it's still a no major. It's fine though.
It's fine.
I said it's fine.
Oh, I feel like I thought it would be like, because you don't have class, you don't go to class for 8 hours a day, and if you do, you're crazy for building your schedule that way. But you're in control of your own schedule, and so yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be easy for me to go to class, get out of the way, but if attendance wasn't a grade for us, I don't know. I teach myself anyway, so like if I didn't have to be there, I probably wouldn't go.
I was gonna say, there was like, things that I like thought happened because of like college movies and stuff, and people stay out so late and skip class all the time, but I can't do either of those things, so I can't skip class and I can't stay out past 12.
Yeah.
Is that like a campus rule?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have that too.
Well,
You get locked
freshmen.
out?
No, but you have to sign a thing.
Yeah, you have to sign your ID.
The first time it's like fine. I don't know what happens after that.
I hop at 1 a.m.
Chick-fil-A's open till 2 on campus.
We just like swipe in whenever we want.
And the other thing is,
don't even
Abilene
swipe
itself closes very early. Like everything there closes early. Like Sonic closes at 9, and I'm like, there's 3 colleges in this town. What are you doing?
Our on-campus stuff
I don't
does
think
close
Dallas
early.
Our on-campus Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
My on-campus Chick-fil-A is open till 2 a.m.
Ours closes at 7. That's so not
Ours
fair.
are on campus
That's so not fair.
So they're unmet expectations.
I think for me, I think you kind of like said it, like teaching yourself is like in my anatomy lab, just very specific. I would get there and they would talk. Our class was like an hour and a half. He would talk for 30 minutes and be like, yeah, that's all I got for you, go. And I was like, I didn't retain one thing that you just said. And like I have to teach myself basically everything. It's like you go to class to hear it for the first time, and then you have to go back for yourself and teach yourself the second time, which I did not think was going to be a thing.
Yeah, I feel like they expect you to do it the other way too. Like every time I go to class and they're like, oh, you should already know this. And I'm like,
No.
like how?
That's why syllabus day is the
what?
worst. I love finals week, but syllabus day I was like, I don't know any of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like for going to DBU that like everyone has the same mindset, because like you're at a Christian college, but like not everyone there is Christian. Like a lot of international students, they're not Christian, but they just go to DBU because that's the only way that they can get to America. So I think like that was like something I was like, oh wait, whoa, you don't have the same like morals? Like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm not like bashing them for that or anything, but I kind of assumed that since I was going to a Christian college that like people wouldn't make some decisions that they made. I guess.
Feel
That,
I'm just asking if that Christian means something to you.
I was like,
Christian
we had a professor, like she came in, it was her first year, it was her second semester out of the semester, but it was her first year at ETBU, and she's like, I made the assumption that I was going to come in here, everyone was going to love each other the way Christ loves us, and we're all going to be Christians, and she's like, yeah, that's the biggest lie at ETBU. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could have told you that, because you just see by the way people act. Like, most people would just come to high school for, like, especially football players. They really just come and play football, and it's just, like, they don't care. It's just, it is, I was really not expecting that, but.
I feel like most of the people I've met that weren't Christian were from Abilene, and that's why they went to ACU. Not all of them, but most of them, I feel like it's that way. And it's just like, they don't, like, it's not like, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to say. It's not like you can just tell right away, like, oh, they're a terrible person. Like,
They don't have wristbands that say that.
What would Jesus do?
So,
Because
like,
we had that in the 90s.
so, like, it's not hard to, like, get along with him, I guess. And like a lot of, like, I was thinking, oh, they're gonna feel so left out because they go to a Christian school, but that's not really how it is, obviously, because we're supposed to include people. So like, you know, that's how it's supposed to be.
And like on that note, like a lot of people, you don't really know like all that because you don't get like that deep into a relationship like with people, like just you don't talk to people like on that level. Like my close friends, like yes, I'll get that like deep on a conversation with them, but like people you just see every day in like our student center, like I would not just get that deep into a conversation. You just like pass one by and you're like, oh hey, like you're nice to me, hi. So you would just never know.
Or like you sit next to me in class.
Yeah.
Like what I've noticed is like some of my friends change from semester. And like my cousin was like, some of your friends that you have now aren't going to be the same that you have next semester. It's because you don't have the classes with them. But in like high school, it was like, oh yeah, we're going to be friends all year round. But in like college, it's kind of like you have a class with someone, and then you see them, you're like, oh hey, and then that's it. Like you don't talk to them as much as you did like as last semester.
And like what I was going to say is I know someone that's coming to ACU, and one of the things she asked me was like, do you feel like not left out, but like separated because you're a Baptist going to a Church of Christ school? Because apparently she heard that was a thing, that Baptists that went there felt like weird about what I was like, no, it's almost the same. Yeah, I know. I was like, no, I definitely don't feel that way. Like a lot of the same kind of stuff goes on. I mean, they do a cappella worship that's about like the biggest
Wait,
difference.
yeah, no, that's cool.
They don't
Yeah,
use
how dare they?
very often.
Really cool. So,
Loki, can I come on
Yeah,
Monday?
Let's make that switch.
One on Monday, but yes.
change it up now.
I want acapella. Ditch the guitar.
So, since we're kind of on the topic, like, how have y'all been pursuing y'all's like faith walk in your like relationship with the Lord on your own?
I can speak to that. So I think one of the things kind of going along with like the friends and like you're not really on that deep of a level. I had a friend who, I mean, we'd never really like talked about religion because I mean like TCU, that can get really like controversial because like we have the whole thing of like the C can be like as big or as small as you want it. Like if you don't want to talk about religion, you don't have to. If you want to, like go for it. So like it's kind of like almost a touchy subject, I feel like sometimes. But I was in my Islamic civilizations class, which is like a history class or whatever, and he asked us to compare Islam to Christianity. And the girl that I was friends with because of that class, she was like, I like don't know anything about Christianity. She's like, I can't even do this. And I was like kind of like shook it down. I was like, whoa, like you don't even know like Adam and Eve, like you don't like Christmas, like. And she's like I wasn't like raised that, and just like, and I like would never have like thought that. Like she has like her morals and mine like line up. We just have like different reasonings, obviously, but and like she's super sweet. Like you don't, I mean like, because I feel like when you think of someone who's like Christian, like you kind of like have like I mean like they all have the same morals, so like she kind of fit into that. So you just like kind of assume, I feel like, because you don't. I mean, like, I don't know. That was very, like, small-minded of me to just assume, like, everyone, like, knows Christianity. And then I was like, whoa. And so I was like, oh, like, let's talk about this. And it was just, like, a cool way to be, like, it made my faith more dynamic because I had to, like, be like, wow, like, some people don't know anything. Like, start from base one. Like, it was just, like, a crazy switch. I don't know if any of that just made sense.
Yeah. Or it's, like, an unexpected, where, like, you're not expecting to, like, share your faith, but you are in class. And, like, do y'all feel comfortable, like, I don't know, like going to college where it's like, I don't know what to do, like feeling prepared of like if somebody asks me something, like you don't have to know all the answers, but
I feel like thinking about that when you are like, oh, like what am I gonna say when someone asks, and it's like you can't. That's like almost scarier than just like doing it in the moment, like having to like create this plan for how you're gonna do it. It's like intimidating.
I feel like I've been trying for like, I feel like 3 or 4 years now to like keep up with a devotional every day, and I've always failed, but this year I haven't yet, so let's keep that going.
we love to see it. We all check boxes. It's fine.
But the check boxes are exciting.
They really are.
Don't demean the check.
Sorry, gold stars.
But like at the very beginning of this year, I was in like going to like 3 or 4 different small groups like a week because they're all the time. So we had like a hall one that I really liked, and then like this one for a church that I was going to, but this church was really big, and I was like, I'm not used to big churches, and I really don't like this, and so I kind of fell away, and then like I started going to different churches, and then Corona came, so I couldn't keep doing that. So I haven't found a church yet because of that, but that's okay. So I've been,
No, like I can like agree to that. Like it took me 3 churches before I found Shoreline, and like I told myself, I was like, oh, I'm never going to like a big church. Like, oh no. But literally, the church that I go to like has 5 different campuses, and we have like 4 different services, and for me, I wanted to like make my faith my own, I guess. I just like when you're here at home, it's kind of like you go to church, it's natural. But like when you're in college, no one's forcing you to go. You have to go on your own.
You have to make
and
it
true.
Yeah, and you have to like find friends within that church, because here it's like, oh, well, we go to school together, and that's how I know people from church. But like for me with Shoreline, I became an intern, and that's how I made my friends. And then I joined a college group with people from SMU and like everywhere, all over Dallas. I mean, it's pretty great. I love them. But it's like, it's just different because you're more pushed to be like, you have to do it on your own, and your parents aren't saying, go to church.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's different.
It was definitely challenging at first because you're just like, I'm on my own. I make my own rules. I do what I want when I want to do it. And I get there.
Someone needs to take that power away.
Same here. We tried for 18 years.
But like, not being going to school in such a big town, like where there is more than one university, right, where I go to school too, but the other one's not a Christian university, so like we don't really know a lot of people that go there. But with going to a Christian university, I guess to me it was like a lot easier to get plugged into a church. And like my sister also goes to school there, so I just started going to church with them, and at first I was like, yeah, I like it here, but then I started realizing, I was like, this is like not like for me. I was like, I'm just going because you go there. And I did join their Sunday night small group, and I love it. I flourish. Like it's just it's just like the best. But like then I started like trying other churches. Like we would, me and my roommate, we would go to Longview, which is 30 minutes away, not a big deal, and we just fell in love with I don't even know what it's called.
Good plug.
Yeah.
Copyright.
Longview Church. I don't know. That sounds great.
I don't remember. But it was just so good. It was just like you have to be disciplined and more like you have to like make time for it, because you can stay up all night and just studying, and it's gonna be hard to get up in the morning to put that extra 30 minutes to an hour like in your morning routine to spend with Jesus. And then you could do it in the afternoon, but you could get busy, get carried away. Like you have to be like disciplined to do it.
I was gonna say, there's 3 colleges in Abilene, and they all are affiliated with different churches technically. So there are a ton of churches in Abilene. It's like almost overwhelming. I guess it's a good problem to have too many options, but it's just I feel like that's really the only reason I haven't been on, because everyone I ask like, hey, what church do you go to? I've gotten like 15 different answers, and I'm like, okay, great. This is gonna take a while.
And like I think it's sorry.
No, you're good.
Like I think it's okay to like
Eventually we'll have to talk.
I think it's okay if it takes you a while to find a church, because it's not gonna be like Alsbury, like because I was like trying to find a church. I was like, oh well, Alsbury does this, Alsbury does that. I'm like, but when I realized, I was like, there's not gonna be another church like Alsbury, and that's something that you have to realize. But finding that church that you feel like you fit in, it's gonna take some time, but it's worth it, you know. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just thinking like the first Saturday night I was there, I was like, okay, tomorrow's Sunday. I was like, oh, I'm going to church, and I was like, wait, I don't know where I'm going to church. I was like, do I look this up on Google? Do I like what do I do? Church is near me? Like, what do I do?
Uber to church.
But I was like, but like I started out at one church, and it was okay, but I was like, I just don't love it. And then I ended up going to the First Baptist of Nacogdoches, which is
Gracie and I actually flip-flopped. Like,
did you? Because you went to Grace first, yeah. But like I ended up liking it, and then like you said, like I was like the next week I was like, okay, yeah, after spring break, then I'll start like with the college group or whatever, and then what happened, and I didn't get to do that. But I think the first time like figuring out, I was like, okay, I'm not going to Alsbury. Where am I gonna go? Was just like overwhelming a little bit.
And what Natalie said is so true, because at first I was like, oh, this doesn't match Alsbury. I was looking for a church and that's just not how it's going to go. I mean, you're in a different town. It's going to be different, and that's okay. And you have to realize that for sure.
If I wasn't from Burleson and I grew up in this church, it'd be very overwhelming to try all these different churches. There's so many. Like, it's crazy.
Excellent. I had a question. There's like so many directions I want to go right now. But,
All at once.
Yep, I'm ready.
So
Pick one, 1, 2, 3.
There's gonna be a lot of like, because I'm very curious. So like Abby was talking about, like she kind of just assumes Christianity, like, oh, if we have the same morals or the same. So, like, has it deepened and changed like your understanding of your faith, like being not in this bubble that you're familiar with? Does that make sense? Like seeing other things, hearing other things, even like in your own like new churches and things like that. I guess it deepened like what is a Christian? Does it mean to be Christ-like? What does it mean to like follow?
It definitely has. I feel like a lot of the morals you had like in high school and before that are coming from your parents, of course. And I wouldn't say a lot of them have changed. Most of them have just been strengthened. I'm like, okay, now I can adopt that as my own belief or moral. Like, I know that that's truly what I believe and not what my parents believe. A few of them have changed a little bit. I would say most of them have stayed the same, though, so.
Yeah.
You can go.
Okay. I would definitely say that. I would agree with you. Like, it's one of those things like making your faith your own. You're going to school. Like, your parents aren't pouring into you. Like, people you've grown up with aren't pouring into your life. Like, you're on your own. So it's like you can choose to like throw all your morals out the window and make new ones, or you can choose to keep those. And like, to me, like, I kept mine because it's like it's a smart decision to do. And like, to me, they have like strengthened just because like you do hear like different opinions and not technically, but the more people I like talk to each other, I'm like, okay, do we all grow up in the same household? Because this is very similar, but it's just nice.
I want to add really quickly to what I said. It's just, back to like the unmet expectations thing, I was expecting this huge change. Like, I was going to go to college and all of these things were going to happen. I'm going to be, yeah, exactly. I was expecting so many like, even like moral things that I was going to be like, oh, I never thought about that. But it really wasn't that like huge, and it doesn't have to be for it to be a good experience. Like, I really was expecting so much change, and there wasn't that much change, and that's okay too. That's what I wanted to say.
You don't have to do the crazy thing to have a college experience.
Hey, I did the crazy thing. The only thing I ever did. Everything else.
Yeah. I kind of feel that. I feel like mine did change a lot, but like when you look at it, it's like the morals themselves didn't, but like my reasoning for them, I feel like really did. Like, I feel like my morals are like mine, because especially at TCU there's lots of different versions of Christianity. I met a girl once who told me God doesn't care what she does because he wants her to be happy, and I was like, oh, interesting take. Okay. So just like, and then like being able to like share my morals and my reasoning was like a whole different switch, because there's lots and lots of different views of like why you should think what you think and all these things. So being able to like give another opinion and honestly receive other opinions has like made me feel like my morals have completely changed, when it like in reality they haven't. Like, I still like follow like the same morals, like my same like this is bad, this is good, like I agree with those still, but just like my reasonings for them and my support for them has like totally like flipped.
It's like not being closed-minded. I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because like in high school, I'm like, why do you believe this? Because my mom told me like that's
Yeah.
Like, I was raised to believe that. And it's like, yeah, now like your reasoning, it's like, yeah, I believe this because this, this, and this.
And even just like being able to like cite a Bible verse and be like, oh, this moral, like I believe this because the Bible says this, and it's like not even being able to do that, but like, okay, I took a philosophy class. I'm all about like building an argument now or whatever. So, but like someone comes and they're like, well, this is like, like being able to like take those things that people say and they're like, oh no, like you're wrong because of this, and being able to like provide evidence for like why that wrong, like them, like that objection, like to like go back at it and be like, no, like being able, like I don't know, I just feel like one moral, I like it like grew a little tree, and like now it's all the parts, like I know everything about it, and I like feel like I really know it. You know.
I think I've been like more challenged in my faith, not necessarily like being on the fence about it or whatever, but like truly getting into my Bible and like understanding things. Just because like, I'm gonna use Shoreline for an example, like every message that they have, I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, I understand like what this means now. And it's just like giving me different No, just like it's just hearing different views from different people like help me understand what it was, like even more like meaningfully, and just like being able to see different sides of different things. And so I've definitely like been able to like get stronger in my faith just because I'm hearing different things and I'm seeing different things, and like it's just allowed me to have just a different view.
What she said.
I think like for me it was so hard first semester because I was like still getting the hang of all my classes and everything, and so like I would read at night and then like the next day I would like kind of think about it. I'm like, I don't really remember what, like I can remember the passage, I can remember the story, but I'm like I don't think I took anything from that. And that was just like an ongoing cycle pretty much all first semester. And then I don't know, like there wasn't like an exact moment where I was like, this has to change. But I think as I went, I was like, okay, like I just need to be like thinking deeper about this. And kind of like what everyone was saying pretty much was like, earlier, like whenever we were talking about friends and how like we get deeper connections with them, and like y'all were saying with like morals and stuff, like I'll say something that's just like common to me, like that's just how my life is, and someone else is like, what? And you're like, oh, we're not the same on that, like the same. And so I think that's like a big thing too that kind of made me feel, I don't want to say better, but like I was just like, okay, like this is me, and like you're saying, like you're making it your own and all that. Yeah.
And I just want like, I feel like first semester I was afraid to ask like questions, especially to my Bible professor, because I'm like, oh, well, he knows what he's talking about, like this is his job, right? But like second semester I did, and like I would go after class and like, because I had a different professor, but I would go after class and be like, hey, like this is what I have always thought, can you tell me why you think this? And like it's okay to ask those questions and figure things out, and it's okay to have doubts and be like, wait, I don't actually understand that, and you're like allowed to say that. It's okay. No one's gonna think like, oh, you aren't a Christian because you don't understand this one thing. Like you have to be able to open and like learn about it.
Yeah, I can agree like with like getting into the word and like not taking anything from it, because like I can go through the motions any day, like that's like it can happen anyway. But like first semester was just so like bad, like I was like catching myself. I was like, oh, I've had like 6 bad days in a row. Like, what do I do to change it? And like we went to church and like there was a message. I was like, I understood it, and I was just like, this is nice. And then I started reading my Bible, and I was just like, okay, yeah, like I was taking stuff from it, like not just reading it because like that's like the good thing to do is read it every day. I was like taking things from it, and like you just notice like how like things change, like your life gets better
because you like remember it, like as you go on, you're like, oh, I read about this. It makes me feel better.
I will always taking it and like applying it. I'm like, oh, look what I did.
Yes,
Give me a gold star.
We're always like talking about it in Sunday small group, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like yeah, like this has happened, like I read this and like someone's told me this, and I'm like, it sticks with me. It's just like, yes. It's nice having those gotcha moments.
So talking about gotcha moments, this is not a gotcha. That was straight up, I said at the beginning. And this can be faith related or just life in general, but in what ways have you found that your parents were correct all these years?
None. I feel like it needed to be said. No.
I was thinking it. You just said it.
Yeah, no, my dad was right about a lot of stuff, and it really made me mad because I mean he works at TCU, and like I didn't have a car, so like home felt a lot further than 20 minutes. Sure. Like it felt like it was about 4 hours away. But I remember getting really overwhelmed. It was like after the first week of classes, and I like all of these syllabi.
So college is working.
It didn't take. But like I had so much going on, and they were like, everyone's like, oh, you're about to go make friends. Oh, you're about to go start classes. Oh, go buy textbooks. And I was like, I don't know how to do any of this. And just like not knowing that. And then my dad's like, oh, just go ask for help. And then I did. And then it just all worked out. And I was like, don't tell me what to do.
Going back to the high school friend thing, my parents kept telling me, you're probably not going to talk to these people when you leave. You're probably not going to still be best friends with them. And I was like, you're wrong. I'm going to be best friends with them forever. And they were right.
Yes.
Does
All
that
of the
matter
drama
anymore?
I went through, I was like, oh, like I'm going to go through this drama and it's going to pay off in 10 years. Oh, no.
Yeah, my mom was like, you're not gonna, like, I have one certain really good friend. We're like so good friends, but we were really, really good friends in high school. We were really, really close. But like, as I went to college, like, she was like, you, like, are not gonna be as close to her as you will. I was just like, I don't know, Mom. Like, I think you're wrong. We've been friends forever. I was like, there's no way. And like, you just start to realize, like, oh my goodness, like, are they really not as good as I thought they were? Like, are they toxic? Like, I don't know. It's just like,
They don't have to be toxic. Okay. Let's just put PSA for everyone else. Sorry.
I think mine was like, my mom was like, you're gonna come home more than you realize. I'm like, ew, no, like, I'm in college, I'm gonna do my own thing, I'm not coming home. So it's like, you're 35 minutes away from me, like, I don't need to come home. But like, the very first semester, I came home a lot, and I went to Allsbury a lot, and I was like, you know what, like, my mom was right. I am gonna come home a lot. And I was like, a Duffelback University? But definitely like, coming home and like talking to my parents. Like I talked to them more than I did in high school.
oh, for sure.
Yeah, I feel
for
that.
sure.
My parents
They're
were
all
like
best friends.
Yeah, they're like, I knew they were a support
fun
system in high
transition.
school. Yeah. They're like actually a support system that I like rely on now. Well, okay, that's so not what I meant. I mean, they were, but like I was like, oh, I don't need you. Like I'm in high school. Like I got this. And then I like got to college and I was like, no, go back, rewind.
Yeah, I call her before class, and then 50 minutes later, when I get out of class, I'm like, hey, Mom, what's
Yeah,
your
I call my
I
mom
just-
all the time.
Way more than
all
I
the
do.
time.
Oh, yeah.
I call my mom. She's her number now. She's like, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I
I'm
just
bored.
wanted to
Sorry. Or she doesn't answer, and I'm like, what are you doing that's more important?
I have a job, Abby.
Yeah.
I think for me, like my mom always told me in high school, because I would just be like so bent out of shape if I got like a bad grade on something. She'd be like, none of this is gonna matter in 5 years. None of this is gonna matter in like a year. Like it's gonna be okay. And so like now, anytime I get like a bad grade, I'm like, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. But like it actually helps. Like
You tell yourself in an hour, I'll laugh at myself.
right, literally that's what I
So true.
Now it's not funny, but in an hour.
It'll be
hilarious. Right? Like at the end of the week, I'm like, you remember what, like to my room, I'm like, you remember what happened on Monday? And she's like, oh, I remember. You remember? And like, it's just funny and it's comforting. Shout out to my mom if you're watching this.
It is so nice, like, knowing, like, in high school, it was so terrible, because, like, you had a GPA, like, you had a class rank, you're like, I want to be the best that I can be, and, like, in college, there's no class rank. They're like, goodbye, everyone's on the same playing
I'm gonna
field.
be the worst that I can be.
Glad there's not.
Oh, me too, because, like,
Yeah, think about that.
college is
Very
not
glad
the
there's not one.
easiest. College is not easy.
A lot of the time I find myself thinking like I'll have a grade in a class, right? And then I do bad on a test or something and it drops a little bit, but it's still in the same range, like A to B or B to C or whatever. And I think, oh my gosh, I dropped like 4 points. That's gonna tear my GPA. I'm like, wait a second, that's not how college works. They're all the same.
And the classes that are no credit, my grades be slipping in those classes. They don't count toward my GPA.
I feel like it's so different because in high school, like that was like my job was like to be a student, and like I like was like I danced and like in band, like I had all these extracurriculars or whatever.
The extracurriculars.
Got me into TCU. No. But like I mean, like you went to school for 8 hours a day, like that was like your job, like you and like in high school. AP classes, I thought I was so prepared for college. A scam.
They're not the same.
That's the only thing I didn't think was a scam.
No, AP classes are a
dual
scam.
credit.
They did not teach me
Dual
all
credit.
What?
Dual credit.
Because you pay for it,
100
you
on
get-
AP, or no, it's not AP in college, but in regular college history.
Yeah, no. AP classes, I was like, I walked into TCU and I was like, I'm an AP student. Like, I will be fine. Like, this is going to be easy. Like,
No.
I did not have to study in high school. I was in like, yeah, no.
Oh, man.
And then I
So
got
many
to college. I got to college and I had to learn how to study. And I was like,
Yes.
True,
Kind of
true.
okay. Did y'all have any sort of like study system prior? Obviously, you didn't.
No.
But like, did you? Sorry,
you're not wrong.
that was a really bad slam in the family.
Hurt a little bit.
Or like, did y'all like ask before y'all went, or was like, oh no, I'm here in the moment, should have asked. what do I do?
On the nose.
I would stay up all night. I can't tell you how many all nighters I pulled studying for a big
The
test.
library and I are besties.
Oh, not me. I study in my room.
I love the library.
We
I love the
hammocked
library.
all
Just
night.
a
We would just stay up all night.
Our library's
And it was
open
like so
24 hours.
uncomfortable. You
Our
couldn't sleep.
library is
so
not
forced to
because
study.
you have to go to bed.
I think it's definitely different because in high school, like, I had a couple of like math assignments, but like I never really had. I never had homework, and so like going from like having no homework to having to like basically do everything on your own, I was like, what? It was kind of scary, but like what I learned is like I asked Annie like, how do you do all this? And she's like, I get my syllabus and I get a planner and I mark out the whole semester. And that's what I did, and that like helped me stay on task for like all my different assignments that were due
Threw
for
away
that
my
class.
planner halfway through the semester.
Me too.
I threw mine away. It stressed me out. I wrote everything down. I was like, there's too much.
And then I would lose it and be like, finals week, be like, there it is.
No, like it is not. It's on
I write mine all
Canvas.
out, and then I throw it. I like literally, it was too much. I was like, I'm not doing this.
It's on Canvas.
love
Why
it.
do I need a planner? if
I
it's
want to.
gonna be on
I want to watch
Canvas?
myself cross it off the list and be like,
Yeah.
19
Yeah,
left. Like,
same,
let's go.
same.
I can't. I literally just can't.
Yeah. When something's
Kudos,
off the
y'all.
list, it makes me feel so good. Even if it's the smallest thing.
I
I
don't
have like
like
5
the
things,
list,
and one of
though.
them will take
But
5
when you
minutes.
look at the
you
list
check
and
it off.
nothing is crossed off, that is scary.
Yeah, it is scary. But then
And
when
then
you
I
start
forgot I can't do
crossing-
anything. I'm like, that list is
That's
too
when you go
big.
eat a snack.
Let's go to
Or
Chick-fil-A.
take a nap.
Naps hit different when
Naps
you're
are
avoiding
dangerous.
things.
That's why they invented them in college.
See, I was gonna say I almost never napped unless I was sick in like high school. Like I could not fall asleep in the middle of the day. But in college, I'm like naps all the time. It's a different level of tired.
They're honestly dangerous because you get up or you don't.
I'm like, oh wow, it's been 4 hours.
That one choice does a lot.
Speaking of what Natalie said about how like you have to do all your homework on your own, it's like we don't, like in high school we had 45 minutes. I don't know how long y'all had in each class, but like you got class time to do your assignments. And in college they'll lecture you, and if it only takes 15 minutes to lecture you, you're gone. Like you're not sitting in there and doing your homework.
I'm so envious of this. I had a professor who literally, we could have done a 30-minute thing, and that man reworded that sentence to fit into a 3-hour segment.
That would be.
Oh yeah,
That would be terrible.
I would lose. I would lose. I would leave. I'd be like, bye.
My
Attendance is a grade. You
Bible
can't.
class
It
is
makes
the
me
only
mad.
class that they always were like 5 or 10 minutes early. We got out of class, but other than that, all of my teachers took the whole
I have
time.
one-
Yeah, the
math
thing is, you're
professor.
like, oh, well, now I got out of class early. I have all this free time. And then, like,
You
your
really
free time
don't.
isn't actually free time.
No.
Like, nobody tells
Time
you
is
that.
never free.
You feel like you're,
I'm never free.
you,
Not in
like, fill out
college.
your schedule, and you're like, okay, like, I'll give myself a break here. And it's like, that break is going to be studying. And it's really weird because you're like, oh, free time.
Just be selfish.
In high school,
Exactly.
like I didn't know what was going to happen next week in my class. I walked in on Monday and they'd usually have it on the board. You're like, oh, this is this week. Okay, cool. In college, you get a syllabus that tells you your final project that's due in 3
And they
or
don't
4
remind you.
weeks, and you're like,
No,
I don't
yeah,
even
they
know.
don't.
You're like,
It was different this semester just because we were all online, so they wanted to make sure, because
true.
I had a final, which was supposed to be a group project, and then a final on top of it. But she like completely, she was like, threw that out the window, through the final, through the group project. I'm gonna write a 5 to 6 page research paper, and I did it the night before it was due. I was like, I
can't
just
be done.
forgot, like I forgot.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was like really great catching up with y'all. Thank you for joining us today on Table Talk and Cozy Share Time. We'll see you next time.